Minerva, child of scorn, grew lean while he assailed the season. He wept that he was ever born, and he had reasons.
He really should have a name by now.
Yes, Mary, you can't leave the child nameless. He'll develop a character flaw.
Nonsense. No, really, Mary, we must give him something to hang his hat on. After all, he's 6 months old. Now, Dean is your doctor's son, and Herman is a good name for a lawyer or a banker or a businessman. And now this one?
This one will turn out to be a novelist.
God help me. Or a poet.
Call him Longfellow, Robinson.
Come on, you're making me laugh. Whitman. Whitman Longfellow Robinson.
You are awful.
I'll tell you what. We'll all put names in a basket. We'll draw a name. The name that is drawn will be the new Robinson boy.
By lottery? No, we couldn't.
Yes, we could. Come on, ladies. Write a name.
No silly ones now.
No joke names. I don't want my son to have a nonsense name like Tristram or Apollo.
Not Socrates?
Or Bartolo.
Come on, everybody has a chance. In the basket. Want to draw?
No.
Oh, come on.
Right. Edwin.
Edwin!
Edwin it is, but he'll need a middle name. Now, whose paper did we draw?
It was mine.
Then you choose the middle name.
Well, I grew up in Arlington, Mass.
Arlington, that's good. Edwin Arlington.
Edwin Arlington.
Edwin Arlington Robinson.
Edwin Arlington Robinson.
Edwin, I hate that name.
Arlington, that sounds like a train stop. Arlington, last call for Arlington.
Edwin Arlington Robinson. Sounds like a tin pan rolling down a hill. Edwin Arlington Robinson. I hate that name.
I could take Win, maybe.
Or even Robbie. Wouldn't be that bad.
Or the initials EA. I could live with that.
But not Edwin. Yeah.
When I was 5, I found that I could never elbow my way through the trough of life.
Watch yourself, boy.
What are you staring at? Come on, answer me. Don't you have a tongue in your head? Here.
Right here on the streets of InTilburyTown, right here overthrew a child of scorn, who wept that he was ever born. We tell you he wept for being born. Reasons, good reasons, had he. Reasons, good reasons, had he.
ever loved the days of old, when swords were bright and steeds were prancing? The vision of a warrior bold could start him dancing.
Miniver sighed for what was not, and dreamed, and rested from his labors. He dreamed of Thebes and Camelot, and Priam's neighbors.
Isaac and Archibald were two old men.
I knew them, and I may have laughed at them,
A little.
but I must have honored them, for they were old, and they were good to me. I do not think of either till now.
Without remembering, infallibly,
A journey that I made with that one afternoon.
With Isaac, to find out what Archibald was doing with his oats.
We walked together down the river road.
with all the warmth and wonder of the land. But somewhere at the end of the first mile, I found that I was figuring to find how long those ancient legs would keep the pace that he had set for them.
So I proposed, without an overture, that we be seated in the shade a while.
And Isaac made no murmur. Soon the talk was turned on Archibald.
And I began to feel some premonitions.
Friend, you cannot feel what I've seen so long. Do not know. You have no right to know. Twilight warning of experience, the singular idea of loneliness. These are not yours. A time will come when you will know what it's like to know that you're losing what is yours, to know you're being left behind. And then a long contempt of innocence. God bless you, boy. Forgive an old man for chattering in the shade. It'll all be like a story you have read in childhood and remembered for the pictures.
Then Isaac, with commendable unrest, ordained
That we should take the road again.
For it was yet 3 miles to Archibald's, and 1 to the first pump. And at the pump he thanked God for all that he had put on earth for men to drink.
At the end of an hour's walking after that, the cottage of old Archibald appeared. Little and white and high on a smooth round hill it stood, with hackmatacks and apple trees before it, and a big barn roof beyond.
Hardly had we turned in from the main road
When Archibald, with one hand on his back and the other clutching his huge headed cane,
came limping down to meet us.
Well, well, well.
Said he,
And then he looked at my red face
all streaked with dust and sweat,
and shook my hand and said it must have been a right smart walk we had had that day from InTilburyTown.
at length, he said,
Well, the orchard's now the place for us. There. And we will have the shade at any rate. Remember, boy, that we are old. Whatever we have gained or lost or thrown away, we are old men. You look before you and we look behind. We're playing life out in the shadows. But that's not all of it. The sunshine lights a good road yet before us if we look, and we are doing that when least we know it. But both of us are children of the sun, like you, and like that weed there at your feet. The shadow calls us. It frightens us, I think. I'm in the shadow, but I don't forget the light, my boy. The light behind the stars.
So I lay dreaming of what things I would, the present and the future and the past.
Isaac and Archibald, the burning bush, the Trojans, and the walls of Jericho were beautifully fused, and all went well.
Isaac and Archibald have gone their way to the silence of the loved and well forgotten.
I knew them, and I may have laughed at them. But there's a laughing that has honor in it. They were old men, and I laughed at them because I knew them.
Yes, boy, what do you want?
I'm Edwin Robinson.
Of course you are. You think I know nothing? I've treated your mother and your father. What can I do for you?
I want to become a poet.
I could have guessed it. Your brother, the doctor, the other, Mr. Businessman. So you want to be a poet. Go away and leave me alone.
Dr. Schumann.
Don't call me that. The doctor treats people. All I do is sit around writing poetry and drinking whiskey.
I know.
I have no patience. I have no patience either, especially with young wannabe poets.
But where do I learn?
Go to school.
There's nothing for me at school.
You got that right, son.
You know the French forms, the ballards and rondelles.
Ballads, rondelles. So you're not entirely stupid. No, I will not let poetry ruin another poor soul.
Ruin?
Ruin, destroy. Look at me. You want to look like this? Poetry did this to me. I drink too much. I cannot earn a living. I'm a ruined man.
Who says?
They do. I hear their whispers. Buzz, buzz, buzz. There goes Schumann. Used to be a doctor, now just a woozly old drunk. Would you like me to take out your appendix? Look, look.
I'm not asking you to become a doctor.
You think it's easier to be a poet?
I can't be anything else but a poet. I have some of my work.
You want me to fix your love in June? Your roses in puppy love verse?
I'm writing sonnets.
Sonnets? Come in, boy, but quickly. Don't let them know I helped you along this wicked path.
Herman.
Robinson, don't rush off.
My brother, I think.
I tell you what I'd like to do. You really should meet Carolyn Swan. She's lived in France. She knows the French forms better.
Thanks, Dr. Schumann. I'd really like to, but that was my brother. I have to catch up with him. I'll be back later, really. I have more to
Mrs.
show you.
Richards, Laura Richards. She would like you very much. Her children, too. A boy of such talent. Oh, was an old drunkard like me, though. I can't remember the difference between a sonnet and a...
Miniver born the ripe renown that made so many a name so fragrant. He mourned romance, now on the town and art a vagrant.
Do you ever think what true love is?
What do you mean, Win Robinson?
I mean, really.
True love.
True love.
I guess not.
I think that really true love needs no words at all.
Your poetry has words.
That is about love, it isn't love. Love is more like a play without words.
A play has words.
I mean the difference between poetry and a play. In my poetry, I set the scene with words and show the characters, how they walk, how they talk, what they're thinking, how they live and die.
Like Richard Cory.
Exactly. In a play, the audience can see all that. All I have to supply is what is said.
And a play about love would have no words.
Yeah.
That would be pretty silly, a play with no words. What would the actors do? Just sit and stare into space?
You see, you're thinking like I was.
When?
Just now. Like two souls joined together.
Like a play without words.
As in true love. Soulmates looking out on life with a single pair of eyes.
Oh, Win Robinson, you are hopeless.
Just like a moment ago when we were...
How do you know what I was thinking?
Maybe
I was thinking you would try to kiss me.
Kiss you? What does that have to do with being soulmates? I would be engaged.
Well, maybe that was what I was thinking.
Well...
There, I caught you, Win Robinson. You have no words to say and just as confused as ever. Now, if I zip my tongue, is that true love?
No, but a moment ago...
So a moment ago it was true love. And now I am just a bossy old lady giving a fresh young man a tongue lashing. I would hope that true love would last a bit longer than that.
Just sit quietly.
And wait for true love to happen? I am not such a great fool as that, Win Robinson. I would love to be your soulmate. But just sitting around waiting for a play without words is another thing.
Can we just sit and watch the river? Just for a minute?
Oh, all right. Okay, is that enough true love, soulmating for you, Win Robinson? If so, I am calling myself fulfilled, and I'm going home.
But Emma...
Oh, Win, you are such a sweet, sweet poet.
Yes, I am.
What's going on, brother boy?
Herman,
You're all red in the face. Is that a girl I saw you with?
that was the new girl from Farmingdale and the Shepherds.
Boy, don't look her win, my little brother. I didn't know you had it in you.
Don't you think?
Well, in that case, you'll introduce me to her. I know how to bring that type around.
What type would that be?
Stuck up and flirty.
Emma isn't like that.
I know the type. You leave her to me.
She would never be yours.
She will if I want her to be.
She is different.
Different is she?
She knows about true love.
Yeah, she does she? Well, I know about true love, too. And it's not sitting around reading poetry. A real woman wants more than that. You leave this Emma Shepherd to me. You'll see what true love is. My brother the poet. What a joke.
I loved that woman. Not for her face. For something fair. Something diviner, I thought, than beauty.
I loved the spirit, the human something that seemed to chime with my own condition and make soul music. Of that great love was a nameless passion, bright as the blaze of the sun at noonday, wild as the flames of hell. The baseness in me, for I was human, burned like a worm and perished, and nothing was left in me but a soul that mingled itself with hers and swayed and shuddered in fearful triumph.
Herman, Emma, how could you?
Tell me what you're doing over here, Win Robinson. Sighing hard and seeming to be sorry when you're not.
Make me laugh, or let me go now, for long faces in the moonlight are a sign for me to say again a word that you forgot.
I'm over here to tell you what the moon already may have said, or maybe shouted ever since a year ago. I'm over here to tell you what you are, Emma Shepherd, and to make you rather sorry, I should say, for being so.
Tell me what you're saying to me now, Win Robinson, or you'll never see as much of me as ribbons anymore. I'll vanish in as many ways as I have toes and fingers, and you'll not follow far for one where flocks have been before.
I'm sorry now you never saw the flocks, Emma Shepherd, but you're the one to make of them as many as you need. And then about the vanishing, it's I who mean to vanish. When I'm here no longer, you'll be done with me indeed.
That's a way to tell me what I am, Win Robinson. How am I to know myself until I make you smile? Try to look as if the moon were making faces at you, and a little more as if you meant to stay a little while.
You are what it is over rose-blown gardens. Makes a pretty flutter for a season in the sun. You are what it is with a mouse, Emma Shepherd. Catches him and lets him go and eats him up for fun.
Sure, I never took you for a mouse, Win Robinson. All you say is easy, but so far from being true that I wish you wouldn't ever be again the one to think so. For it isn't cats and butterflies I'd be to you.
All your little animals are in one picture, one I've had before me since a year ago tonight. And the picture where they live be of you, Emma Shepherd, till you find a way to kill them or to keep them out of sight.
Won't you ever see me as I am, Win Robinson? Leaving out the foolishness and all I never meant. Somewhere inside me, there's a woman, if you know the way to find her. Will you like me any better if I prove it and repent? I am going to marry Herman, Win. We are engaged.
Don't do it. I beg of you.
I'm sorry.
I doubt if I shall ever have the time, Emma Shepherd, and I dare say all this moonlight lying around us might as well fall for nothing. On the shards of broken urns that I've forgotten, as on two that have no longer much of anything to tell.
All aboard! All aboard!
4 o'clock this afternoon, 1,500 miles away. So it goes, the crazy tune. So it pounds and hums all day.
4 o'clock this afternoon. Earth will hide them far away. Best for them to go so soon. Best for them the grave today.
Had she gone but half so soon, half the world had passed away. 4 o'clock this afternoon, best of them they go today. 4 o'clock this afternoon, love will hide them deep, they say. Love that made the grave so soon, 1,500 miles away. 4 o'clock this afternoon, ah, but they go slow today. Slow to suit my crazy tune, past the need of all we say.
Best it came to come so soon. Best for them they go today. 4 o'clock this afternoon, 1,500 miles away.
St. Louis is so far away. I guess that leaves us quite alone. Depending on you now, Dean, and you too, Win.
Let me take you home, Mother. Are you all right, Mother?
Yes, I think it must be all the excitement.
Let me help you. I always hated businessmen.
They are all gone away. The house is shut and still. There's nothing more to say.
Through broken walls and gray, the winds blow bleak and shrill. They are all gone away.
Nor is there one today to speak them good or ill. There's nothing more to say.
Why is it then we stray around the sunken sill? They are all gone away.
And our poor fancy play, for them is wasted skill. There is nothing more to say.
There is ruin and decay in the house on the hill. They are all gone away. There's nothing more to say.
You mustn't go in there, Mrs. Robinson. It's the Black Death. Even the doctor won't come in.
But I want to see her.
There's nothing more you can do. It's black diphtheria. You'd only expose yourself.
We came as quickly as we could. It's only a matter of time now.
Win. Win. Oh, my Win. You are so sensitive. Promise me you won't dream your life away.
I won't, Mother. I promise.
She crowns him with her motherhood and says again that life is good. And should the gift of God be less in him than in her motherhood,
His fame, though vague, will not be small, as upward through her dreams he fares, half clouded with a crimson fall of roses thrown on marble stairs.
She's gone. I guess we'd better call the minister.
He won't come. Nobody will come by the house. I must go now. You may send me my pay by the post.
It's up to us then.
No more with overflowing light shall fill the eyes that now are faded, nor shall another's fringe with night their women-hidden world as they did.
No more shall quiver down the days the flowing wonder of her ways, whereof no language may requite the shifting and the many shaded.
The grace, divine, definitive, clings only as faint forestalling. The laughter that love could not forgive is hushed and answers to no calling.
the forehead and the little ears have gone where Saturn keeps the years. The breast where roses could not live has done with rising and with falling.
The beauty, shattered by the laws that have creation in their keeping, no longer trembles at applause or over children that are sleeping.
And we, who delve in beauty's lore, know all that we have known before of what inexorable cause makes time so vicious in his reaping.
For it had come at last, and she was gone, with all the vanished women of old time, and she was never coming back again.
Yes, she was never coming back again. Yes, they had buried her that afternoon under the frozen leaves and the cold earth, under the leaves and snow.
I shall stay here and help.
And Herman?
He is going back to St. Louis. It's his business.
And the whiskey's cheaper.
Please be kind.
He went upstairs, and there, in the one room that he could call his own, he found a sort of meaningless annoyance in the mute and familiar things that filled it. For the great's monotonous gleam was not the gleam that he had known before. The books were not the books that used to be. The place was not the place. There was a lack of something, and the certitude of death hovered. As with a furtive questioning, and yet he could not understand. He knew that she was gone. There was no need of any argued proof to tell him that, for they had buried her that afternoon, under the leaves and snow.
All right, girls, come along and read with Uncle Win. Now, don't be so loud you bother your Uncle Dean. He's not feeling well.
How it was that he could make and feel for making it so much of joy for them, and all along be covering like a scar, and while he smiled, that hungering incompleteness and regret, that passionate ache for something of his own, for something of himself, he never knew. There was no love save borrowed love. There was no might have been.
But that was all gone by. There was no need of reaching back for that. The triumph was not his.
There was no love, save far of love. There was no might have been.
So, when young Ruth woke up and blinked at him with her big eyes, and smiled to see the way he blinked at her, 'twas only in old concord with the stars that he took hold of her and held her close, close to himself, and crushed her till she laughed.
There was no love, save far of love. There was no might have been.
You run along now. I guess I should look after Dean.
What was all that little bit?
What was what?
I may be drunk, but I'm not blind. I see what's going on here. I'm out trying to keep this family from going bottom up, and you and my worthless poet brother.
He's not worthless. He helps with the girls.
Good old Uncle Win. He has time to play horsey with my children. They are my children, you know. I'm still a father around here.
Some father you are. They never see you fit to be a father, always drunk.
Who are you calling drunk? Look at that couple. An addict and a worthless philanderer and poet.
Win has never laid a hand on me in his life.
He doesn't have to touch you. I see how you look at him. Why don't you ever look at me like that? Because I'm too looped, is that it? I suffer too, you know. Not only poets suffer in this world.
You men will excuse me.
I was just telling your little hussy here.
She's your wife. Have you forgotten that?
Forgotten? It's you who forgets who's a husband and who's an uncle.
You are drunk.
I may be drunk, and I may just drink till I can't drink anymore. But I do know one thing. One thing.
Yes?
Emma will never marry you. When they bury me, they'll throw away the key to your little hope chest. Because I'm the only husband Emma will ever have. I'll see to that brother of mine.
I'd have to see to Dean.
We're all dying here. Every one of us. But she'll never marry you. You have my word on that. Now, I'm going to bed, and I may never see any of you again. Good night, my poet friend, and may flocks of angels and the hell with you all. Never. I say never.
Robinson. Yes, I know who you are. The Maine poet come down the river. You don't mind if I join you, do I? The drinks are on me. Joe French. French, my friends. Enemies too, for that matter. Don't worry, the drinks are on me. Billy, another whiskey here? It is whiskey, isn't it?
Yes.
I've read your stuff.
Aye.
Of course, here in New York, we are all poets. I mean, even I, in my own stupid, hungry way, am a poet. I think we all have lots and lots of things we can listen to. Let me hear some of your stuff.
All right.
Oh, but of course, before you do, I will read mine first, because of course I'm the host here. I'm paying the bill, right? This is the dawn whose infinite hopes transcend all mortal cadences, whose waking dole in terraced raptures wings his heart past pain. Nor fate, nor death, nor time may mocking rend, whom, spent, forlorn, divineth yet the whole of his lost errantry is immortal gain. Not bad, eh? Not bad. A couple of reviewers are looking at it for an anthology. Wow, but I'm talking to a master here. Come on, read me your latest, will you?
All right.
Oops, I got an important engagement. Look, I really do want to hear your stuff, but I gotta go check on my advance. You know, I'm expecting $30 on Monday. I'm, a little bit short of cash right now, though. You don't suppose you could lend me 10 for the weekend, huh? Look, I'll pay you back when my ship comes in. All right, 5 then. Look, but you're gonna pay for the tag here, all right?
Really?
Okay, well, thanks. I'll see you on Monday. Don't take any wooden nickels. Hey, wooden nickels. That's a great title for an epic poem about the story of my life. Think it over. See you Monday. Hey, Billy, bring the tab here to my friend, the famous poet Edwin Robinson.
Edwin.
Edwin? Whatever.
I go by Win.
Win Robinson?
Just Win.
Win? Okay, I guess you are the winner here tonight.
I need a job.
A job? I heard you had your own funds.
I did. I mean, there's very little left.
Oh, well, I myself do not enjoy work. But I don't mind watching others do it. I suppose you may be the same way, huh? Look, I know this guy works for the Transit Authority. You know the guys that are digging the secret, the underground train tunnel? You know, I think it's a stupid idea myself riding around in the bowels of the earth. But, well, anyway, he's looking for a guy who can check hours. Now, nothing to break you back.
Well, anything.
I wouldn't ask anything in return except eternal gratitude and, maybe a drink or two.
I really am interested.
Oh, well, give me a couple of days. I gotta go. Hey, my favorite song. We go no more to Calvary's, for there the lights are few and low. And who are there to see by them, or what they see we do not know. For strangers of another tongue may creep in from anywhere, and we forgotten be no more than twilight on a ruin there.
There'll be a page for Leffingwell, and one for Lingard the Mooncalf.
And who knows what for Clavering, who died because he could not laugh.
Who knows or cares?
No sign is here.
No face,
No voice, no memory.
no Lingard with his eerie joy,
No Clavering,
no Calvary's. We go no more to Calvary's, for there the lights are few and low. And who are there to see by them, for what they see we do not know. For strangers of another tongue may creep in from anywhere, and we forgot and be no more than twilight on a ruin there.
Hey, Mr. Floyd, scusi. New York. I needed some help with my letter from my wife, Gisela. My heart burns with love. Amore, amore.
Come on, Mac. Leave old Robinson alone. He's been good enough to us. Now, haven't you, Robinson? You'd never snitch if we were a wee bit late, would you, son? What's that you're reading there? A letter from your sweetheart?
Amore, amore.
It's from the President of the United States.
Ooh, let me see that. Dear Mr. Robinson, He calls you dear.
Mr. Robinson got a thing for presidents, huh?
Quiet now. Dear Mr. Robinson, I've enjoyed reading your poems, especially Children of the Night. So much that I had to write to tell you. Permit me to ask what you're doing and how you're getting along.
Down in a hole with a bunch of Dagos in the mix.
I'd really like to see you. Sincerely, Theodore Roosevelt. I guess you're relieving us now that the president wants you.
To be the secretary of a poetry.
I could never leave you fellows in this wonderful job. I'll wait anyway, till the shift change.
Oh, you wouldn't want to miss no paycheck. The President of the United States wants him. You know, Robinson can think about it. He's just $2 a day. Give me your clipboard, son. I'll get on with you. How about a handshake?
Hey, me too. Ask if he needs an Italian poet, huh?
You can tell the President what a stinking job the subway is.
I will.
Now get on with you, lad.
My love is like a tobacco in the nowhere. Amore, amore. Mr. President, I can be a poet too.
Please return immediately. Herman near death in Boston Hospital. I need you.
I'm sorry. There was nothing that could be done. It was too late for him.
An autumn twilight on a quiet lake, a silent house with more than silence in it, a boat, a man resting on the oars, a woman with him looking at the shore and inland where the house was, and the trees.
Row me into the middle of the lake where there shall be no eyes or possible ears to watch or listen. We are alone, you say. We are not alone, so near a shore alive in silence. I can hear it. I can feel it holding me.
My eyes are occupied with you, but yours are always looking at the water, as if to see a monster with long arms. You will not see him, unless you find his image in your fancy. By this time you must have heard it in a little voice, saying you are free.
It is too soon for me to hear too many voices. Be careful, or you will say it badly and be sorry.
You are more than a man's life, mine or another's. You drove me away once, but I came back. I came because you said you needed me, because you called me. If you had willed it, you might have driven me into this lake to drown. Sparing me that, you drove me back to life. You might have driven me then to anything. You drove me once to
So many of our songs and melodies that help us to forget or make us happy are born of pain and oftener of defeat than victory.
Why do you gaze at everything but me? Why do you look so long across the lake to see that house? You cannot see it. And even if you should find it and be in it, you would be there alone. He is not there. There's only an old garment all worn out. A body that he was glad to leave behind. What is he now but one far more theme for our congratulations than our sorrow? There was no happiness in him alive. And there's none for you, and you're enduring him with lies and kindness. It was a wrong knot you made, you two. And one knot more or fewer in a world where there are still so many knots will be forgotten and will not be found in the large histories.
You asked a question that has no answer. Nothing, except that once I married him. Oh, why start? We are free now and alone on a cold lake, and a lake that has no ears.
I have seen opportunity like water, flows in my fingers when I might have held it. I have been told the words I should have said, and have been silent when I might have said them. With a short road before me, I have followed trails that have been in only the long, forlorn way of return. With my eyes open, I have walked into brambles and been scratched. I am not blameless. I am not unsinged or spotless or unbidden. Have I said so? Yet there is more of me than my mistakes. For you and I would hardly be together here in the middle of this chilly lake, with night soon covering us. There's more of me, be sure, than a man asking for a woman who would not have him if she doubted him.
I think that when a woman and a man are on their way to making of their two lives deliberate and ceremonial havoc, there is folly in going on if one of them sees what lies ahead and the other sees yet shuts his eyes. I have paid once for ruin, and once will do.
Nothing in life appears of more importance to me than knowing just when it was you called, and for what. I saw you on my journey, in my arms, at a long journey's end, and saw you smiling. And so you were, and you were in my arms. Why was all that? By God, my lady, if I have heard you and have learned your language, a quieter place for you than in his house would be a place with him where he has gone. You should have silent earth, or say the bottom of this benevolent lake, where all is quiet.
He was a devil and should have gone before. God was afraid to let him live. You would have been afraid if you had made him. And as for you and me, you would have nothing but sorrow for your work if you should drown me now. Listen, there is that loon reminding us that we have had his lake too long.
God, is that you? Has it come to this? Is this the end?
Many have died for less than this, my friend. Now, row me back to shore. We cannot be here in the dark.
Hey, Robbie, you look awful. Let me buy you a drink.
Somehow I've heard this before.
Okay, can you let me $5 until Monday?
Sounds too familiar.
All right, look, just 5 until Thursday then. 3. Okay, just run me your coat. I'm freezing. You won't need it. The booze will keep you warm.
Have it back by closing.
Hey, this is a nice coat. Hey, where'd you ever get it?
It was my brother Herman's. He died. Another whiskey, please.
Hey, Robbie, you drink too much.
Who's talking?
Look, I mean it. You really ought to get out of New York. You ought to maybe go up to Peterborough, to the McDowell colony, meet some other artists, people who think the way you do. It'd be good for the colony. It'd be good for you. I know Mrs. McDowell would like it.
Do you call yourself my friend and talk to me about colonies?
Do you know anything about the place?
A colony of artists. It's a contradiction in terms.
It's not what you think. More
Other whiskey.
You're left to yourself. The meals are brought right to your door if you want. You don't have to talk to anybody.
That sounds good.
Think it over. I got connections.
You mean somebody owes you a favor? That would be something.
Think it over. Well, I gotta go now.
To pawn my coat.
Yeah, to the theater.
Fred, come back with my tickets.
Miniver cursed the commonplace and eyed a cocky suit with loathing. He missed the medieval grace of iron clothing.
More potatoes, Mr. Robinson?
Yes, please.
More carrots, Mr. Robinson?
No, but I'll take a shot of whiskey.
Mr. Robinson, you know you can't have that.
You don't know about my private stash.
It's such a stitch.
Mr. Robinson, please tell me how you do it. I spent the entire morning and I only wrote 4 lines on my sonnet.
Well, this morning I decided to place a hyphen between 2 words in my sonnet. This afternoon, I took it out.
Oh, Mr. Robinson, I must tell you about my dream. I was a bird flying about in the treetops. I was soaring like an eagle. And on the ground was a snake. He was coiled as if about to strike. I must have known that he was not going to. I was far up in the trees, high and unapproachable. At the last moment, suddenly, I dove and...
Did you want something, Mr. Robinson?
No, I just wanted to ring the bell.
Mr. Robinson, it has been such a pleasure having you here at the colony. I do think your poetry is just exquisite.
Yes, Mr. Robinson, I enjoy reading your poetry. Perhaps you can help me with mine sometime.
Mr. Robinson, you are such an inspiration to us all. Thank you for being here.
You know, I came down here prejudiced against all colonies. But I now wish I were a millionaire, that I might make more of what it is.
The Lord Apollo, who has never died, still holds alone his immemorial reign.
Mr. Robinson, would you accompany me on a short walk?
Oh, very well. I must warn you, I do not talk very much.
Supreme in his impregnable domain that with his magic he has fortified.
I don't know what to say.
And though melodious multitudes have tried in ecstasy, in anguish, and in vain,
I still am not talking.
with invocations sacred and profane to lure him,
I guess I had nothing to say. Thank you, madam.
even the loudest are outside.
Yoo-hoo! Robinson! Mr. New York poet! Mr. Pulitzer poet! Come down and let's celebrate! I have a party of some very important, very tipsy friends of the arts who want to meet a prize-winning poet. I want to meet a prize-winning poet. I need a prize-winning poet.
Who is it?
It is I, Isadora Duncan, with a few friends, wishing the company of a Pulitzer Prize-winning poet.
It's late.
Oh, the heck it is. It's still dark, isn't it?
Go away.
Oh, we have champagne.
Call me in the morning.
All right, I'll send the cavalry away, but I won't take no for an answer. See you all back at my place later. Just you and I now. Will you let me in?
Go away.
You know who I am, do you not?
A dancer?
I am not just a dancer. I am Isadora Duncan, the dancer. Now, do I have to call your landlord and say you're causing a disturbance?
What do you want with me?
I need a poet.
I do not write for dance.
I do not need a new dance. I need a muse. My feeble legs will soon be weak, and no one will see or remember me, but your words will last forever.
You flatter me.
I want you. I want my poet. It is only through your love that I can be touched by the enduring flame.
I have no love to give you. I have my poetry. I have room for nothing else.
Just one drink?
It's late. Much too late.
Well, then I shall have to stumble my way to dusty oblivion without you.
May I use that line?
Be my guest, be my guest. Goodbye, goodbye.
Not the champagne.
Goodbye. Goodbye. Will you come down for me?
Emma, just a minute. Emma, what are you doing here?
Looking for you.
Coming off the street.
Oh, I can't. I have to get back to Ruth.
Why have you come?
To see if you will come home to Farmingdale.
Emma, this is my home now.
The girls miss you. Their Uncle Win.
The girls are almost all grown. Ruth is a young woman.
I miss you.
Ruth needs to finish her schooling.
You know I cannot afford that.
I could help. I'm not exactly poor now.
We will not take charity.
This would not be charity. Call it a loan.
I cannot repay a loan.
I would not expect that.
Then it wouldn't be a loan.
Call it what you will.
We will do just fine.
You mean without me?
You haven't made yourself available.
I cannot come back as Uncle Win. We have been through that before.
I miss you.
But nothing has changed, has it?
You mean, shall I marry you?
Yes.
No, I shall never remarry. We have been through this before.
We have beaten it to death. Maybe I will visit this summer. We could all go to the cottage.
But you won't. You will want to be in Peterborough.
You are right.
So this is it.
I wish it had been different.
So do I. With all my heart.
He says it takes him 6 weeks to write a sonnet. It takes me 10 minutes. One of us is crazy.
Work with me means looking at the ceiling and my navel for 4 hours. And perhaps writing down 4 lines. Perhaps nothing.
I tried to teach him to look people in the eye when speaking, to shake hands warmly and cordially, and not give a limp flap of a cold paw. But to the end, he still pinched with his fingers.
I was born awkward. I cannot help it.
He's a curious mixture of New England reserve and blunt outspokenness. Sensitive with a strong sense of personal dignity. He feels hurt deeply and keenly.
The lost days of boyhood are like broken toys in a dusty attic. The world frightens me. I know I could never find in Gardiner what I could do. There I was an unpromising freak, a queer cuss without any ambition.
Yes, but isn't it true that the Tilbury town of your poetry is really your hometown of Gardiner?
No. Tilbury Town may be any small New England town. It's no particular place.
Mr. Robinson has a sonnet he calls Credo. It begins, I cannot find my way, there is no star in all the shrouded heavens anywhere. Poor, deluded, hoodwinked, deceived, self-willed New England, God pity her. Mr. Robinson is a genius chip off this old New England block, and they are in the depths of absolute negation.
Perhaps I demand too much of my readers.
Edwin Arlington Robinson is poetry. I can think of no other writer who has so consistently dedicated his life to his work. He is a poet for poets.
I have always loved your poetry. In fact, we all do. But it's so difficult to understand. Isn't there some easier way?
I don't know that there is any, except just to read it, one word at a time.
It says here that you do have a sense of humor. Could you give us an example?
A wealthy man with a glass eye was approached by a needy artist. The wealthy man said he'd give the artist money if he could tell which of his eyes were the glass one. The young artist took one look and replied the right one. When asked how he knew, the young artist replied, your right eye looked the least bit more sympathetic. As you know, I seldom laugh. I fancy I do my laughing in my gray matter. I grin on the slightest provocation. But real solid laughter frightens me.
Well, what is poetry to you?
Music. It must be music. But more than that, life itself. The only life I've had. I have believed in life, despite what people say, despite its futility. I've believed in poetry. I've lived poetry, all through the long years of neglect, and then the years of plenty. I've loved it. I married it.
So what is your theory?
I have absolutely no theories.
Isn't it true that you're a pessimist?
I'm neither a pessimist nor an optimist. I'm an idealist.
Well, what exactly do you preach?
That people ought to try and live the life of the imagination, the spirit.
Your poetry is so obscure.
My poetry is rat poison to editors. But here and there, a Philistine seems to like it. You ask him what my poems mean? That's a hell of a question to ask a poet.
It's said that you like to highlight the psychological effects without illuminating their causes. A dry New England psychologist, they say. Your critics have not always been kind.
If a boy or a girl hasn't brains enough to do anything else, he or she is put to the task of reviewing books. I'm provincial. I shall always be provincial. And besides, I cannot argue.
It's inoperable. Yes. Trying to remove the cancer would kill him outright. He doesn't seem to have an inkling.
He hasn't once brought up the subject of death.
He thinks he's going to Peterborough in the spring.
I have always loved you. I wanted to tell him that I had loved him, but the nurses wouldn't let me.
Amazing woman. Pretty. Latham? Latham? I have made some corrections to King Jasper. The rest should be ready on Wednesday. You know, I never could have done anything else but write poetry.
Life is the game that must be played. This truth at least, good friends, we know. So live and laugh, nor be dismayed, as one by one the phantoms go.
Cool.
Something on behalf of the cast and all the people involved in this performance, that there are several people who are not up here that you really ought to be able to applaud too. I want to point out several of them to you. One of course, as you've been listening to, Mickey Felder, the pianist, made us sound so good. We want to thank him. Noah Myers, and he's helped us to look good up here, which is quite a job, I can tell you. Single out a couple of people, and we'd like them to come up here so you can get a look at them and thank them properly. The co-authors of this play who helped us put it all together, who really created the whole story of Edwin Arlington Robinson and highlighted his poetry so that we could all get to know him a little bit better. Art Myers and Lucy Martin. Do we have them?
I don't know if she's back. Is she back? She had to be somewhere else this afternoon.
I got it.